the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined.
Mhm.
So if you imagine yourself getting all your things done, if you imagine yourself at a specific weight, if you imagine yourself with a certain amount of money, the subconscious mind has to start to change things in order to, bring that about.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of your best day yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal professional development. I am Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer here at the Center for Victory. With us today, a very special guest from Phoenix, Miss Victoria Gallagher. She's a worldwide leader in hypnotherapy, a best-selling author, international speaker, a life success coach, and renowned authority on the law of attraction. She has dedicated her life to empowering people all over the world to successfully live a life of liberty. Does that sound interesting? Aligned with their dreams through her effective meditative recordings and online courses. As a tireless personal growth enthusiast herself, Victoria hosts the popular Law of Attraction show and the Power of Your Mind podcast featuring industry experts. The Power of Your Mind is a self help podcast helping listeners unleash the power of their mind. The Power of Your Mind podcast has over 240 episodes and I believe, if this is correct, 1 million downloads and is heard in 136 countries. Is that
Yeah, that
correct?
needs to be updated. It's like into the 350s now
Okay.
and like
All
a
right.
million and a half downloads.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to
Yeah.
celebrate that today. Well,
We
wonderful. Well,
should. We definitely should.
all right. Well, thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you
Uh,
so much for having me. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, always like the topic, especially when we talk therapy. It's my background as well. It's where I came from as a therapist, so hold a license like that. But I think Victoria, I'm just gonna like jump in kind of hard here because what
Yeah.
I hear from a lot of people, whether we work with companies, individuals, whatever, is okay. Like all the positive touchy feely talk, Eric. I can't do that. I have trouble. Like, how would you even tell people to go about rewiring themselves for success? What
You
would
know, that's
advice
such
would
a
you give?
It's such a great question. Really, I believe it starts with self-awareness.
Mhm.
So that everything starts there, right? I mean, we want to become aware of the fact that either we have something we want to get rid of, or we want to have something we want to enhance in our life. And then once we become aware of that, we need to get very, very specific and about what exactly our desire is. And because like if we just say, oh, I want a relationship, or oh, I want a new job, or oh, I want more money, or I want to be in better health, that's just not specific enough. So we want to get really specific. What does that actually mean? So that we can begin to now get that into the subconscious mind. So once we get really specific, we want to have like a way to repeat that specific thought over and over. So I usually have people like write it out, write a desire statement, something that they read to themselves. And there's a very specific way that I do that. And then, using visualization, visualization is one of the major keys to reprogramming the subconscious because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined.
Mhm.
So if you imagine yourself, getting all your things done, if you imagine yourself at a specific weight, if you imagine yourself with a certain amount of money, the subconscious mind has to start to change things in order to, bring that about. So those are the main things. We do go deeper. People do have blocks and
Mhm.
resistance to change. And so we do go deeper and take a look at maybe some of the limiting beliefs and things that are really causing you to feel stuck and reframe those into more empowering beliefs and use hypnosis to actually get in and speak directly to the subconscious mind. So I could go on and on about that, but I know we have lots of
Well, no,
questions.
no, yeah. Yeah, you can keep going if you want to. How um and I know you're big into this too as well as I am. But thank you, listeners. You're not just hearing it from me, you heard it from her as well. I mean, the power of your subconscious. And one of the things that I'm a big proponent on always is just kind of being in a state of gratitude. Like starting there and really attracting the things that we want, but it's just a good overall, it's just a good place to start. Would you agree?
100%. And, it's one of those things that sometimes is easier said than done
Right.
because our minds, we wake up in the morning and, we kind of just live our life on autopilot. And one of the autopilot things includes kind of thinking the same thought. So we thought over and over. And unfortunately, we're just sort of brought up in a society where we're just I mean, like, look at everybody. Like, if you look at your feed on Facebook, like half of it is people complaining about something, right? And so we just have that tendency to complain and look at the lack and look at what we don't have and look at like, oh, I wish I had that. And really, where it is at, because all that makes you feel bad. All of that really just takes your vibration down a few notches. So, when you actually start to reprogram yourself to focus on what you do have, focus on, I mean, even if it's not exactly where you want to be, having gratitude can put you in a more resourceful state of mind, to have more clarity, to just feel better. When you're in a more resourceful state and you're feeling better, you're just going to be more creative and you're going to be able to come up with better ideas on how to get where you really want to be. But it's like, and so much of where we are right now, like where I'm sitting right now, I created this. Like these are the goals I had long ago to have this studio, to have these books written, to all the things that you mentioned about me. It's like, whoa, I forgot, like right there is a moment of gratitude just to take a look at where you are and what you have and all the people that have helped you to get to this point. And, when we just take a moment to even be thankful for the air that we have in our lungs, I mean, it means that you're alive. It means you get another opportunity to, do this again. So I think it's really, I all of these conditions are like my children. Um, the being clear on your desire and aligning your thoughts and aligning your emotions and your vibration and but the gratitude is so important. It's just up there with all of them.
Is there any other advice that you would give people? Like, I get this question a lot too. Like, how do I find gratitude in those really challenging times? Like, what should I be looking for?
Well, I think number one, when we get into these challenging times, we have to really kind of take a look at, that's sort of where we have to step again back into the self-awareness
Mm.
and, just ask yourself, like, is there anything that I can actually do about this situation? Because there are situations that you can control and there are situations that you can't control. And so when you're in a situation that you can't control, the first thing really just to get to a baseline is accepting. And when you are at that level of acceptance, then you can have a little bit more, it takes you out of the fight or flight response because when you're in a like fight or flight response, it's really difficult to genuinely and authentically find things to be grateful for. So we got to kind of at least break that up and take yourself out of that. Once you're there, then you can just begin to plug into, okay, I'm gonna think about 5 things right now that I can be grateful for. Just count them. And like it could, and just literally just stop and look around. Take a look inside. Am I breathing right now? Do I have clothes on my back? Do I have a roof over my head? Did somebody give me a compliment today? Did I make money today? Is there money in my bank account? Do I have people in my life that support me? And these are the kind of questions that you can really look to. And these are all things that you can be grateful for. And, it also takes you out of this kind of entitled state because
Mm,
like we're not entitled to anything, right?
right.
Everything, gratitude is really, in a way, it's shifting your perspective to realizing that everything is a gift. Every single thing. Your life is a gift. Life doesn't owe you to be here and to be breathing. Life doesn't owe you a roof over your head. Life doesn't owe you to have a significant other. Life doesn't owe you, to have well-behaved cats. All of these things, right? They're gifts. Every single thing that you have in your life is a gift. And so when you shift your focus to thinking of everything as a gift, that will help you to really embrace gratitude and really, really feel it. And then of course knowing the gifts that are on the other side of gratitude, knowing what it does for you. I mean, it has so many gifts in and of itself. It's good for your health, it's good for your mindset, it's good for manifesting new things in your life, puts you into a feel-good state if you really, really feel that way. There's saying I'm grateful and there's
Mhm.
feeling and experiencing
Yeah, and
true gratitude.
that is a very good point because when you do feel that, when you're in that state, anxiety decreases. You're not as not as depressed, and I think that's what we get into. I'm glad you mentioned that because we get into that entitlement state, and I think a lot of people that just increases their anxiety and increases their depression.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this, I
yeah,
should be here by now, or this should be happening. And, when things are not happening according to your expectations, you tend to be disappointed. Now, I say that because, on the other hand, when it comes to law of attraction and manifesting, we do need to expect, but we need to expect things in it from a detached standpoint, meaning that we're expecting the good things to happen, and we also recognize that we are co-creating with the universe, and we're not necessarily in complete control over everything that happens. You could be on a trajectory to becoming a leader in your company, and then the company, this is your expectation. I expect to be the CEO one day, or I expect to be the vice president one day, or I expect to be whatever. And the company could go out of business, or the company could have a big layoff, or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, now what? And so if you expect that with an attachment, like this has to happen, or else I'm going to be feeling like this, then you're only setting yourself up for disappointment.
yeah.
So
Very good point.
expecting with the realization that it's this or something even better.
Hmm. I like it. I like it. We talked about subconscious mind. How important is I get a lot of people when I ask them, hey, look, to decide like what you want, what are your desires, and they always can tell me, and I don't know if you're the same way. They always can tell me everything they don't want.
It's
Right?
so true. And, I've been doing this, coaching people, hypnotizing people for 25 years, and day in, day out, it's like always the same thing with people that, come to me. And people are just, they're not even aware of the negative chit chat and the don't wants. And so many times people think they are talking about what they want, when in actuality, I mean, I have to constantly remind people and turn them around and say, okay, that's what you don't want, but what's the opposite of that? What would you like to have instead? And this is a habit. It really is. It's a habit that it takes a little practice, but once you become aware of it and you practice constantly kind of correcting that, what you do is you interrupt that pattern. You interrupt that pattern of constantly, like, you notice it's like, oh, here I am saying what I don't want. Here I am, complaining again. Here I am, feeling negative again. And so, what am I going to do about that? And sometimes it's really hard because we feel really justified, we feel really right
Hmm.
about the fact that this is going on and it shouldn't be going on. But the fact of the matter is that if this is going on, if this has happened, this thing you're complaining about is, then it's up to you to embrace that.
Hey everyone, Caleb Kolb here with AMP Adventures. Today we are out in Glacier National Park in Montana. We're just a couple miles south of Canada. There's some beautiful views here. This is Kinnerly Peak, Kitla Peak, Mount Peabody. So it's been a great trip so far. If you're interested on any of our adventures, check out the experiences tab. See you on the trail.
Before I forget, you mentioned books.
Yeah.
What should we be reading?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Um,
So I have
yours.
I
Let's all go yours.
okay. Yeah, so I literally in the last month I just released three new books and two new
Okay.
planners. So I've been a little bit on a crazy roll with, and it's not like I just wrote those in the last month. These were all books that have had various start points, and I
Right.
just chose the end of 2024 to finish them, and they got finished actually this year. But so if you want to learn about the law of attraction, my classic book that I initially started with is still really amazing is Practical Law of Attraction.
Hmm.
That's going to teach you about these eight manifesting conditions, and it's going to make so much sense as to why you need to be in alignment with these eight manifesting conditions. If you want to attract wealth specifically, then I also wrote a new book to that called Practical Wealth Attraction. And it just dives way deeper into that and it gets really specific on what you need to do because there's so many negative connotations when it comes to money. Now, you are also asking maybe books that I haven't written,
No,
maybe books.
I wanted to know your titles first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
then if you do have recommendations, surely I know a large part of our audience is always looking for that as well.
yeah. So there's, I like to look at a lot of the old classic books. I think that there's just those are gold mines of information, some simple, some complex. But Think and Grow Rich, obviously that is such an amazing book.
It is, isn't
Um,
it?
it, it really is. There's another book too. It's very little. Well, it's not little known. Obviously, it sold a lot of copies, but it's not as talked about. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about this book so much. And it's called Total Self-Confidence. And it was the book that it kind of got me on the path to self-improvement back when I was 18.
Mhm.
And it has everything in it. It talks about hypnosis, self-hypnosis. It talks about goal setting. It talks about, a little bit of law of attraction. It kind of just has everything. And it really just opened up my mind and helped me to understand myself, my goals, and how to how to attract things and how to manifest things. So those are two. I mean, I could really go on and on. There's so many amazing books. I'm a reader. I love learning. I love reading information.
Yeah, I was so I'm big, like I said, on therapy as well. But like from your perspective, just so the audience can hear it again, because I think it's so important. From your perspective with hypnotherapy, how can that? Can you tell us about that and how that can help?
Yeah. So hypnotherapy really bridges the gap between what you consciously know that you want and your actual programs in your subconscious mind that really are acting in opposition of what you want. So the reason why that is because early on we, are our conscious level of awareness isn't fully formed yet until we're about 18. So we have this part of our mind that's just, really wide open. We don't have any discernment. We don't have any ability to say yes or no to that. We don't have, we just accept whatever we heard growing up as children. And we do start to form that conscious mind. It starts to form about 6 years old and develops even more and more, um, you know, until you're about 18. But all of your programs are pretty much like 95% of how you're going to be is formed by the time you're 18. And most of these are negative. So our subconscious mind, it has a lot of really important functions, such as it just really keeps you alive. I mean, that's its main function is keeping you safe, protecting you, keeping you alive. So anything that you want to change, whether it's losing weight, whether it's changing jobs, whether it's getting in or out of a relationship, whether it's starting any kind of new habit, and you just consciously think about that and you try to will yourself to do that, that's not going to necessarily be something that's going to be long lasting or permanent. You, and just as an example, it's like you've seen how people set New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the year, and within 2 weeks they're off of them, and that's because it hasn't, taken root in the subconscious mind. It's not
Mhm.
an automatic. The subconscious mind is about 95% of your thinking, and the conscious mind is only 5%. So we have to take what it is that we desire consciously and program that into the subconscious mind. And how we do that, I mean, there's many different ways to do that besides hypnosis, but hypnosis is the most practical way to do it, the fastest way to do it. And all it takes is just, allowing yourself to really get into a nice, state of relaxation. You bring your brain waves down into a alpha or even theta state, brainwave state. And when you're in theta, your your subconscious mind is more open and receptive to
Yeah.
receiving the suggestions. And once we get those suggestions planted into the subconscious mind, and we reinforce that with some repetition and some new actions maybe that you take, you're going to start to notice that that becomes more of who you are now, and
Mhm.
that becomes more automatic. And if we don't change that, it's just going to constant
Right.
battle. It's a constant trying to will yourself through willpower. Willpower wasn't intended for long-term permanent change. It's really just there to get you through the moment, like to get you away from the saber-toothed tiger that's chasing after you, and that's it. And once you're, past that, then you go back to your normal self, your normal self. So we want to change that normal self to the self that you really prefer.
Yeah. Thanks for that explanation. That was really good. And thanks for talking about the brainwaves. I geek out on that as well
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Thank
speak
you.
on
You're
that because
welcome.
it's very important. Like people don't realize, like if you're always at a state where you're not receptive to anything, it doesn't matter how, like what you're
Yeah.
going to do, it's not going to work. Like
Exactly.
you have to
Exactly. And we
calm
don't
the mind.
realize it, but our guards are always up.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
guards are always up.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you have some resources, don't you,
Some resources.
for
I,
people to use? Is that
oh my
correct?
goodness, I am the queen of resources.
So do you have an app, right?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Can you
Yeah.
speak about that and tell us about that?
Absolutely. So, to me, everything really kind of comes down to I just find this over and over again. Of course, as a hypnotherapist, we're about changing beliefs.
Hmm.
And whatever you believe you can do, you can do. And so I created this app called none other than Believe, which is all about, so much of it is about manifesting. My target audience, is typically like somebody like in sales or entrepreneurial or, personal growth, spiritual goals, and, really blending meditation, hypnotherapy, affirmations, and some videos and, some courses, a few courses. I really have it all in this app. I used to say 1,000 sessions, but I'm pretty sure that because I am constantly creating new sessions, it's probably more like 1,200 hypnosis sessions are in this app. And they're
Wow.
all designed to help you to, feel better about yourself, have more confidence, and believe in yourself. It's really about believing in yourself.
Yeah, I can't wait to check that out. I have not checked that out yet, but thanks for doing that. I think
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah,
uh,
my pleasure.
I love that kind of stuff. What else have you found works for folks?
So I personally, I'm a big advocate of having a morning routine and getting up at the same time each day, establishing a habit of something that you do good for yourself each day. You put yourself first. You put yourself in the mental state that you want to be in throughout the day. So I do that. Of course, I'm a client of my own work. And so I will turn on the Believe app first thing in the morning. I will use the meditation timer in the app and I'll just do a silent meditation. I believe listening is, we've got two ears, one mouth. So listening is super important. And we tune in and listen to our own inner guidance, our own intuition. What do I need to hear today? What do I need to do today? So I just have people, I listen, or actually I do silent meditation first thing in the morning. Then I listen to my hypnosis. And then I journal and read. And so I do those four things. I know there's the morning, what do you, Hal Elrod, the morning
Morning
miracle.
Miracle. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
so a lot
Yep.
of this is really similar to the Morning Miracle.
Mhm.
Like when after he wrote that book, I mean, I kind of did various different things, aspects of that already. So I'm like, oh man, I could have written that book. Right?
Yeah.
But there are deeper reasons that he gives, for all of those. Getting out in nature, doing some kind of um, exercise. I also believe that, our health, the health of our body, the health of our brain, um, drinking plenty of water, feeding yourself right, all of those things are crucial to, to having what you want. And because we have this one vehicle that we experience our life through, and the better better relationship we have with this vehicle, our body, then the better we're going to relate to everything else. So, taking some time each day, I think, to spend with yourself, doing some kind of workout is also essential.
All right. Good. Before the last question here, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Best way would be either through my app website, which would
Mhm.
be believehypnosis.app, or for all the other things, victoriamgallagher.com. Victoria M with like Marie,
Mhm.
Gallagher.com.
And you said you were on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, and all of those channels are Victoria M. Gallagher at Victoria M.
Okay.
Gallagher. So finally got those all lined up. So yeah, those are some of the ways, some of the places I, give you little sound bites. Well, YouTube, they're much longer.
Yeah.
Actual full on. I think I have 1,000 videos now. I just saw.
Wonderful.
Um, I hit 1,000 and lots of free content.
All right. Well, check it out, folks. So the last question that everybody always gets here on your best day yet, how would you describe your best day?
Now, this is like a best day that I've had so far, or
Well,
my
it
best
could
day
be
that I'm
anything.
going
This
to
is
have.
this is wide open.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I would say I'm going to make up a best day, a best. So the best day that I can imagine would be a day where I wake up, I'm feeling amazing, I'm energized, I'm happy. All my businesses are flowing and growing, and I get to be on television and have an interview with, oh, someone I admire. And I get to be on stage and speaking in front of 10,000 people, inspiring them. I can look out in the audience, and I can see people crying happy tears of joy and feeling inspired. And then at the, end of that, I go have lunch with my husband. I come home, I make a few recordings that go into the app, and I end the day going and celebrating all of the people that we have changed their lives with a wonderful meal at a first class restaurant, and end the day snuggling up, watching a romantic comedy.
all right. Sounds good. Well, thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful tips here. I've got tons of notes, so thank you very much. Thanks for you being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time, and I hope your audience got inspired by this information, and they'll take it and apply it in their life.
Yeah, and you can check out the resources, gang. But that's all for today. If you want more information, you can stay tuned at centerforvictory.com. All the information's there. Check out everything we have to offer as well. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.